How you doing, everybody? It's Joe here from Living the Learn. It's that time of the season again and the biters are back out. It's mid-season, mosquito season, tick season, anything that can give you a bit of a bad time when out and about in the woods. So I just thought I'd make a quick video on what I particularly use for protection against these things, and the do's and don'ts and things to watch out for, and so maybe some hints and tricks. This is predominantly for the newer guys heading out there, but maybe if you're a seasoned guy and you're planning something big, and you might find something here that you may find useful. So the first thing off the bat, this is my nighttime bag. I have another video on this, but in this one, all year round, I'll carry tea tree oil. I've been using this for a couple of years, ever since Bernard Nulty put me onto it. I bedroll predominantly, and then on longer trips abroad, I would use a tent for obvious reasons. And I found that, especially bedrolling in certain environments, you might get the odd undesirable little critter in your sleep system. So I use a few drops of this on the leg of the trousers, on the shoulder, on the hat, on the shemag, and I also use some on my bedroll, and haven't had a single problem since. Now, this isn't a super duper chemical deterrent like DEET or permethrin and those kind of things, which we'll get into in a minute, but it is effective for 80% of the year, and even in the summer I still use it as that little bit of extra protection to back up my more hardcore chemical based repellents. Now when it starts coming into summer, especially times like now, what I'll start to use is this. This is all natural buckshot, sold at Self-Reliance Outfitters, and it was sent to me by John Bishop. I absolutely love this stuff. It's predominantly natural. I don't know if citronella is natural, someone can correct me on that. Sunflower oil, peppermint oil, rosemary oil, and it's enough to keep the bugs in Tennessee at bay, and so it's good enough to keep Irish bugs at bay. The only downfall with this, and the downfall with a lot of these chemical based products, now this won't repel ticks. It doesn't contain permethrin. Again, I haven't had a problem with ticks, but I incorporate other methods into me, but I prefer putting natural stuff on my skin. The only problem is when you're buying any products like this, especially for the summer months with the sun being out, you have to be careful because they are predominantly oil based. I'll show you now. So you can see there that's a fairly tacky substance. But when you rub it on, you want to be doing this in the morning time in your tent or underneath your tarp, because it is like rubbing yourself in olive oil. You will get a serious sunburn off this, but it is very effective. Smells absolutely gorgeous, isn't as potent as the chemical stuffs, but it keeps them at bay. I use this quite a lot, and it's a good one. But again, watch out for that. You don't want sunburn to be caused. In fact, I absolutely hate getting it. I carry factor 50 on me most of the time, because once you become sunburned, products like this are rendered practically useless, because one, they'll only just increase the sunburn, and two, they can sting a wee bit when you're applying them to sunburn, especially the chemical ones. Now, I tend to head abroad every year, especially in the summer, for long periods of time. And when I go on those kind of hikes, or even 4-day hikes or 5-day hikes through Wicklow and Kerry and places in Ireland, I tend to go down the heavier road of the chemical based stuff. This one I picked up in Scandinavia. I find that the local pharmacies in any country that you travel to are usually more well equipped for dealing with local bugs. This is very cheap. It was only €5 and it done me the whole trip. It contains aloe vera. It's good for 6 hours. But the thing is that it doesn't contain permethrin. Now, it is for ticks, but I find it keeps most stuff away. And again, this is the same. This has aloe vera in it and will act refractory like olive oil or tanning lotion. So if you're using this in the sun, it's best to apply it before you go out and let it sit, and then cover it in a layer of sunscreen, just so you don't get burnt. Because again, once you get a sunscreen or a sunburn, these products here are kind of redundant, and you're going to have a bad time. Another thing people fail to manage that enough, which is I found very helpful. It was told to me by a good friend, Brendan Crow, a couple of years ago when we were in Sweden, is personal hygiene. I always carry, especially in the summer months, a towel. Yes, you can carry a bandana or a shemag and stuff like that, but they just haven't got the absorbency. I'll give myself a good towel down, especially if I'm sweating. Because one of the main attractants of these little critters is body odor and sweat, especially in Ireland. It's midges predominantly that would be attracted by this stuff. And a good microfiber towel does the job, and you can leave it to dry out. It's not that weighty at all, and it helps prevent it. Just when you stop walking, you can give yourself a towel down. Always a good one. Wash yourself regularly. Good hygiene, especially in the summer months on these trips, is very important. For those of us with beards, and those of us without beards, but a good comb is always good. This one was made by Aidan Parry, because ticks and other critters like that tend to, I find most of the time when I do get bit by mosquitoes, until I start using these products, because I do put a bit of tea tree oil in the beard and stuff like that, but it's not always a preventative. I find I get bit in my beard, behind my ears, stuff like that. So it's always good in the evening time. Give yourself a comb down, give your beard a comb down, refresh the peppermint oil and tea tree oil and stuff like that. And check your hair and behind your ears, especially behind your ears and your ankles. Now, to alleviate the problem of getting bites in and around those areas, because I'm trying to think now, when was it? Glenmalure. Possibly 2 years ago, maybe this time last year. Yeah, this time last year was Glenmalure, and then the year before that I was in Sweden, and I had only used DEET and stuff like that. And even DEET isn't 100% effective. I carry 100% DEET on me, especially now when I'm in Scandinavia, but I haven't got a fresh bottle of it. I used it all up over there. But when you start sweating, imagine these things are like sunscreen. When you start sweating, these wash off, and even though this is good for 6 hours, this is good for 6 hours, and this, the jury is still out on how long that is. I just reapply it regularly. But when you start to sweat, these things wash off. Again, that's why it's good to carry a towel, dry yourself down, reapply another layer. You can never have too much stuff. It's not always good to go with the manufacturer's instructions. You got to take your own process into account. If you're just sitting around camp all day and not sweating, that's fine. But if you're on a hike and you're moving, you want to be reapplying this stuff as much of a chance as you can get to your exposed areas. You don't have to constantly cover your body in DEET. I know people aren't fans of that. But in Glenmalure, last year I was on a 4-day hike. The weather was like it is now, 20 degrees, very balmy, very humid, and the midges were out in force. If I had the editing ability, I would roll some pictures in of me in my head net. But I got eaten alive. No matter how much repellent I had on me, I still got bit on my hands, bit on my ankles. If I was bending over doing firework, the small on my back was bit to bits. And the same happened to me in Sweden the year before. I was camping near to Norway, and the tundra bugs are out in force, and they don't seem to care about clothing or anything like that. They'll actually climb into your clothing, and I was bitten all over my back and again around my ankles, and it became a bit unpleasant towards the end. Nothing you can't get over, but it became a bit unpleasant towards the end. So to alleviate that, I invested in one of these. Now, I keep it in its box just because it's fragile. Well, not fragile, but I don't want to be keeping it in my clothes and stuff where it can be getting wrecked. This is very light scrim, but it is a jumper with a hood. It's made by Coughlin's. Readily available on eBay. They're only about €12, delivered to your door. They're absolutely fantastic. There may be Irish stockists of them. I actually think Cotswold Outdoors had a few of these the last time I was in. They may be worth a look. But in the summer months, especially in this weather, in the marshy environments or in the boreals, or even in Ireland, it can get very sweaty, especially when you're on the move. And some people try and alleviate the bug thing by wearing long sleeve tops or samags covered in permethrin or DEET and stuff like that. But I found that the best way to alleviate it is just to stop them all together. And I found this mesh very breathable. It's actually more breathable than most of your Life Systems head nets that come with it. But this offers full coverage, which is what I like about it. So that means that when we woke up in the morning and I broke camp, I was able to put this on and just wear a t-shirt or a vest. I didn't have to use any of these products here because I was fully protected. So the less chemicals I was putting on my skin, the happier I was. And it meant that I could apply sunscreen straight away in the morning. I wear factor 50 because I'm very heavily tattooed, and these things are like solar panels. So I wear factor 50, which I recommend anyone should wear, especially when you're spending 4 or 5 days out in the sun. But it allowed me to just wear a t-shirt underneath my bug jacket. Didn't have to be banging the DEET or any of these products during the day. I'm after losing my grey wolf patch, I just realised. But it allowed me to be that bit cooler with my bag on my back. I mean, on the 4-day trips, I would have a fairly heavy 20-kilo bag. You can see, oh, there she is, that the shoulders held up fine. And it's great around camp, especially in the evening time when the midgies decide to come in and say hello. But then moving on from that, I found that, especially in Glenmalure when we were hiking, the humidity in Ireland can be very high at the best of times. And in Sweden, around camp and stuff like that, that I didn't always want to be in my Fjallraven trousers. I wear predominantly Fjallraven Keb trousers, which are fantastic. They're light, they're breathable, they have zips on the side. But especially in the tick areas, or areas that are prone to ticks, you can leave yourself open by using these side zips and stuff like that. And I know you may laugh, but I found a great trick that was taught to me by the Marines. I don't have a pair on me now because I actually burst my last pair. I'm not that good at putting them on. But a pair of sheer tights. Yes, you may look like a bit of a numpty, but a pair of sheer tights allowed me to put this on and walk around camp in a nice airy pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and not covered in chemicals. I didn't have to worry about ticks getting me and stuff like that. So there's just some tips and advice on it. Like, just look after your personal hygiene and be careful when and how you apply these things. And if you sweat a lot, it's best to reapply them. But making a few small investments, like a Coughlin's bug jacket for 11 quid, mine's an XL, just because I wanted that extra bit of room. I don't like being enclosed, especially on hikes when it comes to chafing and stuff like that. If you so wish to wear shorts, a pair of sheer tights, I mean, I personally wouldn't laugh. I'd commend anybody who wore them, because they're taking the precautions and it allows themselves to have a good time and an enjoyable hike. A pair of sheer tights is always a good investment when it comes to that. When it comes to ticks, you're looking for stuff with permethrin. If you're that overly cautious or you want to be 100% guaranteed, permethrin is really the only way to go about it. Yes, DEET does work in concentrations in 20% and above, but you do have to reapply it every 4 hours. And again, DEET isn't the best stuff to be putting on your skin all the time. Watch out for sunburn, because the minute you get sunburn, and these products will actually help you get burned, you want to avoid that. Just for obvious reasons, bar all the dangers that come with sunburn. The minute you get sunburned, applying this stuff is like applying acid, especially DEET. You don't want to do it. It's bad days. Look after your hair. Check your body in the evening times. Behind your ears, your ankles, the back of your neck, your hairline, those who have beards, your beards. And not just for that, but it allows you to apply preventative itching creams and stuff like that. Antihistamine cream is always a good investment. I'm all out. I'm actually stocking up. I'm heading away in August for 14 days camping in the boreals up in the Arctic, and this is why I decided to make the video, because I was going through here and realised I'm missing stuff. But antihistamine cream is a great investment. Weak concentrations are available over the counters, and if you check yourself every evening time, you'll feel the little lump where you've been bitten. The earlier you can get the antihistamine cream on, the better. So there you go, guys. I mean, it's just a quick rundown. I'm on my way out the door, but I just thought I'd throw this out there. If anybody has any questions or on the stuff I use or anything like that, or just or even suggestions, I'm always open to suggestions. Maybe something I've mentioned here, you notice I may be missing a link or a step and stuff like that. Feel free to give me a shout in the PMs and on the Living to Learn community. And as always, thanks for sharing the knowledge and watching the videos and participating in absolutely everything on the page. It's growing at an exponential rate with good people, and all of us here, we can't thank you enough for that. So there you go. Joe from Living to Learn, out.